Welcome all. This is Srimai Majumdar from Swami Vivekananda Institute of Modern Science. In the earlier segment, we had discussed the downward and upward movement of communication. In this segment, we would like to discuss the lateral or horizontal movement, and lastly, we shall conclude with the diagonal or the crosswise movement of communication. What is horizontal or lateral movement? This movement takes place among people of the same category or the same designation. Obviously, in the corporate world, we have departments and where we have people, officers of the same level who have to work on a parallel platform. Now, what are the purposes of this movement? Obviously, we have to coordinate. Supposing I'm going to mention three departments, say sales, purchase, and the accounts. So we can include the HR department also. If we do not act together, then the motives, the goals are not fulfilled. So obviously there should be coordination. This is the first purpose. During an activity, there will be many kinds of problems, many kinds of hitches which will come forth, and we will have to find a solution. And we need to interact, we need to talk among ourselves, and therefore we need to have solutions for this. And this is where the lateral movement comes into action. Then the third purpose is when we need to resolve issues. Obviously there will be problems we need to resolve. It can be interdepartmental issues, it can be interpersonal issues, and the horizontal movement, the movement among same people of the same level, coming across and talking it out to find the solution, is one of the most important purposes of this movement. The fourth important reason or the purpose for this movement is to pass on information. We must inform each other, we must share information to reach our goal. And lastly, this particular movement promotes relationship. The corporate unit, the corporate world acts as a unit through this movement. Now let us find out what are the methods which are used. Obviously, the primary, very old method that we can talk of is the telephone. We can use the phone to call up people. We can have a face to face talk. It can be a very casual yet official. We can have meetings, corporate meetings, have discussions about so very many issues. We can exchange written notes, which is actually these days done more on a digital platform, which comes last, because we can use email, we can have all video conferencing. So these are different kinds of methods which are used in the lateral movement. This movement has quite a few merits. The first merit, obviously, is the feeling of mutual trust, mutual understanding among each other. Unless and until we have proper understanding, we cannot function towards a mutual goal. And the more we have lateral interaction, the more we have mutual understanding, we develop a mutual trust. Secondly, lateral communication has a byproduct called coordination and cooperation. Obviously, we have to cooperate, we have to coordinate while we are working. So, cooperation and coordination is another very important positive byproduct and advantageous byproduct of the lateral movement. Thirdly, During the times of difficulties, we can resolve problems, and the only and the best way is to have horizontal conversation where all the parties of the same level get together and resolves a problem, finds a solution. And fourthly, we are talking about interdepartmental issue. It can be interpersonal issues also, where people talk to each other and find out what is to be done. Demerits is one section which is unavoidable. People will come together, there will be different kinds of opinions, and there will be problems. In lateral communication, rivalry is one of the basic problems because all these people are in the same category. Each one will try to outdo the other to reach the highermost ladder in the hierarchy. So, rivalry is one aspect of negative in this particular movement. Secondly, we find since there are different departments, each department may have a special activity. It's a department which depends on specialized skills, like accounts may differ from production totally. Production may differ from HR totally. But there again, these different specialized units may not understand each other's individual areas, problem areas, and they may not interact well. Another thing is physical barriers. By physical barrier, we mean the distance from one department to another department. For example, the production department may be far away from the head office where the accounts department work on a daily basis. So interacting may be difficult. And finally, lack of motivation happens when one knows that there is a competitor around the corner and he or she may take over at any point in spite of my best efforts. So, lack of motivation is one aspect which has to be taken care of. We need to find out ways to improve because we will be having problems. So, how do we improve? First of all, we must have regular meetings. Meeting each other and talking to each other may solve so many problems. This will result in exchange of ideas. Moment we have exchange of thoughts and ideas, it is obvious that the results will be positive. There will be less frictions, less hitches, and less, what should we say? There should be smooth sailing without many difficulties. And finally, the entire, it can, all the departments can work as an entire unit. So, once these steps are maintained, we take these measures to overcome the problems. We are sure that lateral movement is going to be very effective in the corporate. The last unit is the crosswise or the diagonal movement. When we say it is crosswise or diagonal, it means that we are breaking all the official hierarchy, formal hierarchy, say from the man right at the bottom, the watchman, to the CEO. We can jump all the official positions and we can send a message. Supposing there's a crisis, there's a strike, or there is an accident, there are many a times we use the crosswise and diagonal movement, which reaps, which results in instant action, instant interaction for positive effects. Diagonal movement really does not have very many negative aspects. Rather, it produces positive results. Like it is most effective in emergency, as I have said. For example, In the case of fire, we forget all the criterias of formal communication and we immediately, from top to bottom, we interact. It avoids hierarchy, that is obvious. When you avoid hierarchy with a common goal, you boost the morale of the entire unit. You develop a sense of friendship. You develop the feeling of well being. Everyone becomes a well wisher for each other. And this again results in camaraderie. Each one goes all out to help the other, to hold the unit in a big bonding, in terms of bonding. And instead of bondage, bonding is what we look forward to. And the last words for this movement is it builds up cooperation big time and it helps us unitedly to achieve the corporate goal. We would like to conclude these movements with the last lap of crosswise and diagonal movement. Hope it is a productive talk for you all. Thank you.